that to which we must meantime turn our attention, is the fact that mankind, evolving as it does on earth, determining its own fate, shaping by degrees the epochs of its own civilization, is guided by beings whom we must characterize as superhuman, who are meantime beyond the range of human sense perceptions, and are found mainly in the higher worlds, attainable only to clairvoyant sight. When we turn to the category or class of beings next to man, who are entrusted with the guidance of the human race, we come to those beings who are known to Oriental mystic tradition as the Dhyani, and in Christian mysticism as angels. I have often described these superhuman beings, and you know what their position is. We know also that they were once human, but under conditions of life totally different from our own. That was during the old lunar evolution, when our Earth was passing through its previous embodiment. At that time, these angelic beings, who now play a part in the guidance of the human race, passed through their human stage, and at the beginning of the present evolution of our Earth were therefore so far advanced that they stood 1 degree higher in their evolution than our present humanity. And at the end of the evolution of the Earth, that proportion of the human race which has attained the goal of its terrestrial evolution will be as far on as the angelic beings were at the close of the lunar evolution. Hence these beings are well qualified to guide man along the path that shimmers immediately above him. They take part in our human evolution. Now we know that as far as the outer evolution of the earth was concerned, Christ was incarnate for 3 years in the body of Jesus of Nazareth. We know that this incarnation was unique. There had never been such an incarnation before, nor will there ever be such another. That which was achieved by the Christ through his dwelling for 3 years in a physical human body was necessary, so that Christ should once dwell as an earthly being among earthly beings. But Christ, as he is in his own peculiar nature, is in no way restricted to the limits of a 3 years' sojourn in the body of Jesus of Nazareth. He is also the guide and leader of all the beings of the upper hierarchies. He is an all-embracing, universal, and cosmic being. And as he entered human evolution through the mystery of Golgotha, so did great events also come to pass through him among the beings of the upper hierarchies. That is to say, the Christ wrought changes also in those higher worlds as time went on. In what sense are those beings left behind, of whom we said that they had remained behind in their evolution? What has been the actual cause of this delay? They have remained behind for the reason that they turned aside from the impulse of Christ. Thus one class of guiding spirits now appear who have received Christ. The other, the retardative angelic beings, show by the manner of their influence on our period of civilization that the Christ impulse is absent from their activity, that they are not filled with the Christ impulse. While, on the one hand, the Christ-filled angels of Egypto-Chaldean times infuse such forces into the evolution of the human race at the present day as can raise man to spiritual life, the other angels who have turned away from the Christ impulse strive to bestow on man as inspiration all that may be called materialistic culture and science. Hence the confusion prevailing in our time between the two extremes. The one class of inspirers steeped in the purest Christ impulse, which would lead man upward to the higher life by pursuing the aims of Athroposophy or spiritual science in the right spirit. And side by side with this, the other extreme, led by inspirers who have repudiated the impulse of the Christ and are zealous to introduce the materialistic element into human civilization. These two streams are mingled in our age, which can only be rightly understood when we realize that in it both streams of spiritual leadership prevail. If we are unable to distinguish between these two streams, or if we extol either fanatically, we are not in a position to follow clearly the actual course of our civilization. Under the leadership of the angels who are not filled with the Christ impulse, we have acquired a science today which is quite abstract, totally unspiritual, and we yearn after spirituality because the influence of the other class of angels interposes ever more and more powerfully in the guidance of mankind. All the great spiritual leaders of humanity, whether angels, archangels, or archai, who are striving to advance, have at some epoch or other, during the post-Atlantean period, been open to the Christ impulse, just as man was open to it when, at the lowest point of his evolution, through the mystery of Golgotha. Here we see the significance of the intervention of the Christ impulse in human evolution.